Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to Spawncast episode 354. Have a good one tonight, actually, because there's a lot of stuff happening now, a lot of stuff coming up, and brought some of the good people together here. We do have Sean coming in after the Knicks game, I guess, is over or out of reach one way or the other. I don't really know where it is right now in the game itself, quarter wise or whatever, but well, he'll be popping in. So last time he was on here when the Knicks were playing it didn't go over well. So he'll be in here hopefully in the next like 20 or 30 minutes. But joining me tonight, we have MVG.
Hello. It's great to be here.
It is good to have MVG here, who actually is one of the people who played Foamstars. So
I did.
Not see that one coming.
The Splatoon killer. Played
You'll be able to give me some thoughts on that, because I think I played it too, and I think we might have some very similar thoughts. OJ as well, probably. OJ, how you doing?
I'm doing good. Yes, I also played Foamstars, and yeah, I have thoughts on the game. But yeah, I'm doing good. Thanks to everybody that came out to the pre-show as well. It was fun.
We have Evan as well.
Yep.
Josie wasn't feeling well tonight. She'll be back with us next week, but we're kind of expecting some Nintendo stuff coming up here soon. So, and I think she's going to get Mario versus Donkey Kong. So she'll be able to give us our thoughts on that when she's back with us next Saturday night. But tonight we do have the Xbox stuff to go over, because it was just one of the craziest weeks I've ever seen in gaming ever, whether it's the response from the community, all the Twitter spaces. It was wild stuff. So we'll go over some of the stuff that happened, as well as what we can expect from their business event this week. This is called a business event. We have some of the Nintendo stuff where they had the sales that happened. There was a really funny headline about their unique propositions that they're going to have, so I wanted to throw that in there. And we had some games that came out: Helldivers II, Foamstars, FF7 Rebirth State of Play, and a demo. So a lot of gaming stuff to go over here today. I do want to give a shout out to the Spawncast network. Make sure you check that out, as Game and Talk actually went up and had a lot of interest. People really enjoyed the show this past week, so check that one out. I also want to give a shout out to some of the producers here. We got Trent A, William Hogue, Mr. Joby, Joshua Butts, John O, Achievement, and then the Game Orb, who's stuck with us, sponsoring once again. Shout out to the Game Orb. Make sure you check out their channel. I will have their YouTube link below. They also have Twitch that they run, so check all of that out down there. Shout out to the Game Orb for sticking with us over on the Spawncast network. Make sure you check that out. And we have we also discussed some of the we talked about going back in time. MVG and I were going to play a game, like a game that's 20 years old, and we left it up to the community to vote. And I was gonna, depending on what game won, I was gonna go around and pick somebody to play the game. And it was actually MVG's suggestion anyway that won, and that was Half-Life 2. People want us to go back and play Half-Life 2.
I'd be more than happy to go back and play that game.
Do they want you to play the original? Because there's a lot of interesting modded versions of that game involving like AI voiceovers and stuff like that are funny.
Interesting. I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work, because MVG brought up a good point that the game has seen so many updates that even if I popped the disc in from the original, it would update through Steam. So I'm not sure what version I would be playing, but I wanted to do at least the one with ray tracing, like art, all that stuff, just to see it in a new light. But really, it's going to come down to less how it looks, more about the core concepts, like the be able to manipulate physics and stuff in the game, see how that's aged, and then some of the story stuff. So, MVG, how you feeling about revisiting Half-Life 2?
Love it. I can revisit that game every single day if you want me to. I love Half-Life 2. It's one of my favorites.
Yeah, you made a video recently on it with the original Xbox, didn't you? Or the PS2, you did the Half-Life 1. So you're deep in with Half-Life then. All right, good.
Yeah, so I did Half-Life 1 on the PS2, and I did the Half-Life 2 on the OG Xbox, because a lot of people don't even know that version exists, and a lot of people remember it as being very, very sluggish, which it is. I mean, I'm not going to sugarcoat it. But what was really cool about Half-Life 2, see, John, I'm already talking about it. What was really great about Half-Life 2 on the original Xbox was that it was their original port of the Source engine to console. So that was their first kind of entry into console development with the Source engine. So that's kind of what started it all for them on console. Of course, we got the orange box later and everything.
Blue bottom disc on the PS2, if I remember.
Yeah, it was only It's only like 500 megabytes. The ISO. Not a big game.
That'll be fun. That'll be fun. Yeah, I'm gonna look for it. And then I think Nate and I think Sean, they were less enthused about Half-Life 2. So I think they, I think they were gonna take the runner-up in the poll, and they might do Twin Snakes. So we might get two. MVG and I might tackle Half-Life 2. They're gonna tackle Twin Snakes. I don't know. You can ask them, OJ. Might be able to jump in on that with them if you haven't played it in a while and you're interested. They're doing the Twin Snakes run. Basically, we have to play through the game and then give our thoughts now. 20 years later. So 2004 was a stacked year in games. That was an interesting poll.
It really was.
Yeah, a lot of stuff was in there. I will say I kind of was pulling for Chronicles of Riddick, Return to Butcher. But I actually wanted to play through that again, but it did not get many votes. Need for Speed Underground 2 almost went out. So
that's a good game too.
Great
some
game.
Great games in
good year.
2004.
Good year. So let's start up. You know, we're gonna start with. Why not? We'll get out of the way. Foamstars. So I know Sean didn't even touch Foamstars. He was busy making fun of it rather than actually trying it. But Foamstars released into PlayStation Plus. Probably the best move that they could have done, because I saw the Metacritic went up the other day and it was like a 59, I think, right now.
Yeah.
And I downloaded it. Again, it's on PlayStation Plus. You know, I hit a few buttons, it downloads. All right, fine, we'll try. I didn't try it in the beta, so this is my first attempt at it. And I played 4 matches, and then I uninstalled the game. It's not a very good game. I feel like people were really happy with I thought people were pretty happy with it in terms of like Summer Game Fest. I don't know if that was more controlled, like the setup, the multiplayer or something, where they had like one map, one specific game type, or I don't know, something. But when I played this game, I had no idea what was going on.
Yeah, that's the biggest issue. Visually, like the messiness on screen is just bad. Like that's something that I complained about in the beta. You know, it's pretty much the same for the most part, and it's visually it's just tough to see what's even going on, man.
I feel like that's something companies forget in competitive games, is the need to know what you're looking at every time.
They try to do the thing with like Splatoon, when you shoot paint everywhere, it stays on the ground. This like bubbles up, like you make little mountains out of this stuff, and it just gets in the way. The idea is you have a surfboard or something you surf around on, but it just gets you around a little faster, I guess. The idea with Splatoon is that the action basically never stops because it never has to. In this game, you have to hit a button to reload, and once I did that, I was like, that slows everything down. That's not great, because Splatoon, you reload basically while you refill while you're moving, right? They've worked it in traversal, which is clever. This tried to be Splatoon, but didn't take, I think, the best part of it, which that's a core component.
It should have been more of a clone, to be honest.
Yeah, that's something that you have to like hit the person with your surfboard when they're foamed up, and that's how you eliminate them. And I think I won half the games, and I don't even know how it happened. So I don't know, MVG, you were out too. You said you played like 2 matches, you were done.
The chat, always says that I'm always negative, I'm always grumpy, right? But this game fucking sucks. I mean, let's not sugarcoat it. It's so bad. I played 2 matches and I played through the tutorial. So I sat through the tutorial, I played 2 games, and I uninstalled it as well, John. I just if there's some type of gameplay loop that's supposed to be, like crack, I'm not getting it. I don't know what I'm missing, but I have exactly the same criticisms as you guys do. Like, I don't really know what I'm supposed to do in the game. I guess maybe I need to stop thinking it like as a game like Splatoon and maybe just take it on its own merits. But at the end of the day, the game is just so confusing. The way that the different colored foam kind of clashes is really kind of jarring on the screen. It's very, very difficult to kind of figure out where you are and if you're in the enemy's foam or if you're in your foam. So overall, it's a miss for me. I uninstalled the game pretty quickly. The other thing go ahead.
I was saying, did you get a look at the microtransactions?
I took a glance at all the,
I saw
all the
price. I was like, wow.
Yeah, I didn't really look at the price too closely, but it was riddled with MTX, obviously, which is fine. I mean, I get that. I get what they're trying to do with this game. The other thing that really annoyed me was the performance. Like it was like it's starting to get like, you know, choppy for no real reason. And if you're trying to make a game like that Splatoon style of gameplay, you can't have any frame drops. You can't have any issues like that. It has to be silky smooth, and that really kind of bugged me as well. So I don't know. It was a miss for me. I installed it.
Yeah, fortunately it was PlayStation Plus, so I tried it and I was like, I'm good. I'm gonna move on. I just don't know if this game's gonna, like, we see these games get shut down very quickly if they don't work out. I don't think Foamstars is gonna make it to the end of the year. I really don't, unfortunately.
I doubt it.
I think Square has shown that they are very quick to move on if it's just not working out for any of these games. So I'm kind of in that boat where unless something crazy happens and they completely revamp it or figure something out, I think this is months maybe of life before it's gone. But that's Foamstars. So there you go. I got 4 matches out of me and I was out. So that was it.
Not good.
But there was another game. One that I had to search far and wide to find someone who would play it with me. And that is Helldivers 2, released for $40. It's on PC, it's on PlayStation 5. There's crossplay, cross progression is coming later. And you know what? This game is awesome. It is really good. It is so originally, MG, I told some of you guys this because I was playing. I played like the first 2 missions. It was just me playing. I'm like, I don't know. I guess it's okay. It's kind of like it's an arcade shooter at its core. But once I got people who started to join in, because they can just join in randomly when you're looking to drop in, and then I had played a few rounds with Ryan, Mystic Ryan. The game opened up and got significantly better. Like some of these bugs you fight against, like some of them are smaller ones that you can just blast away. Others are massive, and you actually have to work together with people to take them out because they have certain weak points. Or you can blow off limbs and they'll kind of fall over, and you can attack them that way. But what you are essentially playing is Starship Troopers, basically the whole time. That's what it is.
Everyone kept saying that when I streamed it. It's like, this is like Starship Trooper. I'm like, yes, I know. They kept saying it over and over.
If they had licensed Starship Troopers and put that title there instead of Helldivers 2, I'd be like, yeah, okay, that makes sense. But
that game's already out, though.
Yeah, well, this is I would assume better, but basically in this game, you're dropping in and you're trying to retake Super Earth, and they play it in this very dramatic but kind of comical dialogue, sort of like the tone for it, where you're a Helldiver, but they don't really care about you technically. It's like you die, they throw someone else down there to take your place, and you're almost like lemmings to the fodder until they eventually clear the bugs out. But really what happens here is you have your typical, like your auto rifles, your pistols, you can have flamethrower shotguns, rocket launchers, that sort of thing. And it's all third person. You can do like first person for snipers, like you zoom in and it puts you in first person for that, so you can take advantage of it. But for the most part, third person, super snappy combat. Like the controls are good, the shooting's good, the haptic feedback is worked in well enough, but it's not like too much. And you have this dive that people were way overselling online. I don't know what that was. They're like, you can dive backwards and shoot. You mean like Max Payne that I played on Windows XP? But otherwise, the controls, everything is solid. And Arrowhead kind of had a Housemarque moment here. What I mean by that is Housemarque did like Resogun and some of the smaller games, and then they went and did Returnal. This is like that for them, because if you looked at Helldivers 1, it's like this top-down isometric style game, but they went full-on like over-the-top production value, like third-person, massive combat and explosions happening on screen. And it's a $40 game, which was surprising because I see the value in the sense that if you have friends you can jump online with and you like playing really any kind of shooter, whether it's Apex Legends or Fortnite or Call of Duty, even for first person and stuff, you can move to this and just have a good time blasting bugs and PvE setup. But the biggest thing about this, and the thing that I really like about this game, is that they mix in something called their stratagems. And you basically hold L1. It brings up a combination of buttons. So in order to do like your orbital strike, it's like putting in a Hadouken.
No, yeah, it's Konami code.
Yeah, you basically input this stuff with the D-pad, and then your guy's punching it in, and you take something, you throw it, and the ship in space will just blast the entire surface with something and like blow everything up. And you have all kinds of fun little things you can get, whether it's turrets or you have like a gas strike or like the airstrike from Call of Duty or whatever. So
the 2-person autocannon, that thing looked cool.
Yeah, and it all works together and it looks really cool in motion. But this is a game that I noticed the PS5 kind of struggling with at times. Like there are a few times where that frame rate was chugging a bit, and this if you have it on PC,
got it on PC,
you're gonna be fine on PC. The system requirement's pretty low actually on PC, so if you're playing there, you're probably getting 60 plus in terms of frame rate.
120.
Yeah.
How far into the games do you get? Because I was watching people play, and a lot of them were crashing. So normally, I think the state of play for them is to just do the main mission and get out, so that you don't do a ton of stuff and then crash and lose all of it.
It seems like there's been some patches that have came out that have helped with that, because I didn't run into it, but I'm not like super far. Like I've only played like a few missions, and I echo pretty much everything John has said. I have not played the multiplayer, but I can just tell from like this, like, you know, like the stratagems and the only thing I don't like is I wish there was actually like normal dodge roll. I wish it wasn't like,
it's like you lay out basically. You jump and just lay out.
It's
completely.
the prone slide, yeah.
Yeah, I wish it wasn't that, but outside of that's like my only real problem. And at $40, I mean, this is a blast with your friends. I mean, if you have PC, it's dope because obviously you don't got to worry about like the PSN or whatever if you don't pay for that or don't want to. And I really enjoy it. I like third-person shooters, and this game is awesome. It is very fun. The controls are good. The gunplay is really well done too. Like John said, like it just feels good to shoot the different type of guns, and it's funny. It'll just make you like chuckle the whole time that you're playing, you know? So that's what I've been playing, and it's really
all
funny.
kinds of puns and stuff. Like first takes a grenade out, they're like, have a big cup of liberty, and they like blow you up with a big grenade.
It's so campy and stupid, you know?
It's a blast though. I'm having a good time with it. And you have constant like progression. Your character levels up, you gain money that you then use to buy new stratagems or weapons, and of course, go figure, there's battle passes. So
yeah, there's a battle pass.
One's free, one's paid. So you do the free one, you get medals basically as you go through these missions, and you use those to unlock. The thing that's weird about this, I'm curious what people think about this one. Okay, so the whole game is PvE MVG. There's no PvP. Technically, you can kill the people around you. There's friendly fire, but like you're not actually going up and fighting people in an arena. Okay, but there's microtransactions, so you can kind of skip some of the stuff, and then the battle pass that you buy has weapons in it. Like there's an incendiary auto rifle in there that's pretty strong, right? It has a lot of knockback, but you get that from buying the battle pass. And people are saying that the game is pay to win then, but you're not fighting anyone. So like there's this weird argument now. Is it pay to win? What is it exactly? And I gotta be honest, I don't know. People are pretty dead set on one way or the other, and it's kind of strange. It's like somewhere in the middle. I'm not sure, because I look at Assassin's Creed and you buy the experience booster, and I see that as pay to fast forward or pay to progress faster.
We always called it pay to skip, right?
Yeah,
just pay to skip.
There you go. Yeah,
pay to advance.
If I have a person who's buying stuff and they're on my I want them on my team because they can literally carry you with some of the stuff they get. So I don't know.
Are you gonna spend the money and get those?
Oh, I bought the battle pass.
I did. Okay.
Yeah, I got the battle pass. it's like $10, and I'm like, I'll try to get the full experience if I'm gonna go over this game and see what's going on here. And I'm looking through it, and I got like some armor that's pretty cool, but you still have to earn the medals. So it just kind of opens up the path for you. And there is like a store that you can go in, but there's like 4 things for sale at any given time. And then the currency you unlock in the battle pass as well for the store. So it's like in Call of Duty, you go through a battle pass and you get like the gold coins, kind of. It's kind of like that. You get that just kind of thrown to you. But the game's fun. And you can just play it on PC if you want and cross-play with PS5. And it's a good time.
Seems like it's very popular on Steam right now. A lot of people playing
Yes. I was gonna bring this up after all that whole spiel, me trying to sell people on it. Peak concurrent player count just before we went on air hit over 136,000 people on Steam. This is far and away Sony's most popular PC release, and it is a day one release with PS5. Now, it's not a studio they own. They don't own Arrowhead, but it is an intellectual property they own. So there is always a chance that they buy Arrowhead at this point. I don't know.
That's the smart thing to do with this type of game, though, right? Because, like, you know, it's not a single player game. This isn't going to be like a system seller for the PS5. So it's smart to get it out there on PC too, you know?
Yep. And it's a Sony needs multiplayer games. I'm sorry, they do. They really need good multiplayer games. This is a good multiplayer game that I assume Arrowhead's gonna have to run support for this thing for a while. Like, I feel like they're just gonna add on to it. So, I mean, at that point, if I'm Sony, I would consider making the move and bringing them in. This is like, apparently this game took them like 6 or 7 years to make or something like that. It's been a while. So 136,000 concurrent player count on Steam at this time. The reviews were bad at first. They flipped positive after patches went out and basically fixed the game. And with crossplay for the PS5, along with cross progression coming, you think this makes Sony rethink some of their PC day one releases in the future? Like, it was kind of clear cut before. Anything that's not multiplayer is just PS5 day one. I almost wonder if they start looking at this like, oh, maybe if it has a multiplayer component, even if it's like single player, like let's like next Ghost of Tsushima, just as an example, releases, but it has that Legends multiplayer with it, and maybe it could work on Steam. I wonder if they look at that and go, you know, it hurt us if we put it on PC as well, if we're collecting this kind of money.
I wonder if they just focus on live services on Steam and PS5, you know, day one. Like, I think a single player campaign that has a multiplayer component like Ghost of Tsushima, I mean, ideally it would be cool if you had a day and date release, but that's probably not something I think that they would do. But a game like Helldivers 2, and assuming they're making other live service games, which we know that they are, I could see potentially they have day and dates for PC and PS5 with those.
Concord's coming up this year.
Yep.
That should be on PC day one as well. Yeah. Oh yeah. So good game. Very good game. I didn't really play much of the first one at all, but people always talked it up. So I was excited to jump into this one.
I had no idea what the first game was. I never even remembered it coming out or anything.
So I was very happy with what I saw here when I was playing, because it felt like they didn't have a lot of confidence in this game when they were getting it out there. But here it is, and it's a blast. So $40, highly recommend it. If you can get some people together, it's even better. Otherwise, if you just wait to jump onto a planet, people will just join in. So it's pretty cool. It's a good game. Let me see. We did have Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. MVG, you played the demo on this one too.
Yep. Played it today.
Okay, good. You played it. OJ played it.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, good stuff. So we had the state of play, 20 minutes or so. They showed a lot of footage. People said that they spoiled parts of the game.
So I didn't.
Of course they did.
So I will tell you guys, I didn't actually watch the state of play. I haven't seen any of the footage, but I have played the demo.
Yeah, I didn't watch the state of play.
I watched the whole state of play twice.
Nah, I'm good. They ruined too much stuff, man.
Oh, they absolutely did. Although I ruined all of Final Fantasy VII people anyway, so payback. But the state, I will tell you then, from an overhead perspective, what they showed at the state of play was awesome. Like, the fact that people were screaming on Twitter after seeing that, like, okay, this could be something else. There's good reason for that. The game, from what they showed and kind of the direction they're going with it, looks incredible. So I was excited to jump into the demo. This was the Nibelheim. This was the incident. Yep. They showed it. Like, obviously it's like the Sephiroth lighting everything on fire, that kind of stuff, right? Very well known. But they gave us that, and then a week from now, the 21st, they're going to have the Junon part of the demo. So they're actually releasing 2 demos. It's very, very interesting. But you have to beat the Nibelheim incident to then go to the Junon demo. So, and then some part of it transfers to the full game. Anyway, the demo, about an hour long, hour and 10 minutes maybe.
I think from what I understand, you can have the option to skip those parts of the game if you've beaten the demo.
Mm-hmm.
I think it's basically, yeah,
it's a flashback. I think they said there was going to be some kind of item you get. It's like some little item you get or something for it. But I will tell everyone, if you have Final Fantasy VII Remake, or just have it available to you somewhere, integrated, whatever, just pop it in your PlayStation 5 and get save data on there if you don't have it, because when you load up Rebirth, you will get something, is what I'll tell you. So you want to make sure you have a save file on your PS5 that you're going to start Rebirth on. Okay, so just a heads up. Won't tell you what it is, but I would highly recommend that you do that right as soon as possible. Anyway, the demo, a little over an hour long. What do we think of this thing? Because I had some thoughts on the performance, the visuals, some other parts with the story, but what do we think about the demo that they put out?
I can talk about the good first. The gameplay is very fun, you know. It's smooth in terms of the performance mode. I like the way that you know how it works. If you played FF7 Remake, you can just jump right in, you know, and start slashing around. So that's definitely the good thing about the game, is just in terms of like the combat. The combat is awesome. Playing as Sephiroth is dope, you know. So yeah, that's the good thing. That's my good. Combat's great.
Okay, so you're good on the combat.
And the music is good. Okay, and the cutscenes and like the voice acting is really good.
Yeah, the presentation for that aspect, when they're cutting to like story elements and they're like, that is super high quality.
Yeah,
that is, you can tell you're like, okay, yeah, definitely looks better than the PS4 version that we had, and even integrate. But MVG, what were your thoughts on the graphics? Let me ask you that.
Well, can I talk about the game first, and I'll tell you about the graphics. So
okay.
I really liked the demo. I'm playing in performance mode as well, and overall, yeah, very, very, very good demo. The combat is great. Obviously, it's, you know, if you played the first FF7 remake, it's very, very familiar. Yeah, I mean, overall, very happy with the demo. It's only about an hour. It took me about just less than 90 minutes to beat the whole thing. But I kind of took my time because I knew it wasn't going to last very long. But yeah, I mean, very, very good demo. Excited about the game. Now, you want to ask me about the graphics, John? I'll tell you about the graphics. So I played in performance mode, and the game looks like someone rubbed Vaseline all over my screen. It looks a little bit rough. I don't really know why. I would have felt like it would have been a huge step up from the first remake game, but it looks like it's kind of gone back a little bit. Actually, I'm not sure why. Maybe they have some more complex systems, for this game. Maybe they do. But I don't know. The graphics are a little sketchy. I'm going to put it down to the fact that this is a demo, and I will wait until the final product comes out, and I'll make a determination at that point. But it did look a little bit blurry to me, and not in a good way.
Back and forth between them. So I started with they drop you into quality mode. Obviously, they want you to see how good it looks. I went to performance, and immediately I was like, "Oh my gosh, what happened here?" It's so noticeable. It's one of those cases where you can notice the resolution dropping, like badly. So I'm not sure what the deal is with that. It's very weird, because if you go and play Integrate right now, visually speaking, it looks great still, and it runs at 60 frames. So it's hard to say what's happening here, and maybe it is the demo, but
I think it's maybe more of the open-ended areas, maybe. Okay. It seems like that might be causing it, because like FF7 is like pretty closed off in a lot of places. But even then, yeah, like I went back and looked at my review for FF7, and yeah, FF7 Remake looks better on like my PS4 Pro. But once again, it's a demo, so we'll see once the full game comes out.
One thing I really did like is those cutscenes are all in engine. Did you see that like Twitter post about where Cloud walks into the library where Sephiroth is, and he's got this big box, and he walks into the scene with it, and then the cutscene triggers, and you can actually see the box kind of rotating around in the background. So like they're all in engine. They look fantastic, the cutscenes. The tech is very, very good. Look, I put it down to probably more advanced systems, more advanced tech in this game. But hopefully they'll have a day one patch which fixes the performance mode visuals.
Scene in particular is actually really good. MVG, the one you're mentioning with Sephiroth in the basement, like where they kind of time lapse it, and yeah, that was pretty good. There was some quick time event stuff that felt unnecessary in the game already, like turning the valve 8 times or something for something like is okay. It's kind of strange, but The combat, you're right, is good. I do like that they have like the synergy attacks where you have the two coming together. You can trigger the combo attacks very, very easily with your CPU ally, and it's very flashy. So it does feel like they kind of took that to the next level. But I need to see how it acts, especially after seeing, because they have that one area that you're running through with Tifa, who's kind of leading the way. And that is the part where I noticed the frame rate was struggling, where there was stuttering a bit as you moved around. That is, as you mentioned, OJ, more open-ended area. We're about to go to, like, Junon is going to be larger than that, and there's going to be more party members. That's the part I'm curious about on the 21st, is how that's going to perform. And then if we switch to performance mode, how it's going to look if we feel like we need the extra frame rate. Oh, Sean's here.
Oh, potentially.
Well, maybe.
Yeah, they are. It's not going well.
Oh.
Yeah.
Okay.
Who are they losing to?
Pacers.
Oh, Pacers are pretty good this year, though.
Yeah, I mean, we're down 4 starters, so you're kind of fucked.
We were talking about the Final Fantasy VII Rebirth demo. Did you get a chance to play that?
You know the answer. Why would you ask a question that you know the answer to?
Okay. Well, we talked about that. We talked about Foamstars. We talked about Helldivers 2. Did you play any of those?
Why would you ask a question that you already know the answer to?
He doesn't play any video games anymore. He just watches the Knicks.
I haven't played any video games.
Forza.
No, I don't play video games anymore. I've retired.
You're playing Forza. You're playing Forza Motorsport.
Exclusively an AEW channel now.
Yep.
Sean, are you going to play Mario versus Donkey Kong next week?
No.
Okay.
Just go start the download for Helldivers 2.
Go to hell. How about that?
Helldivers 2 would be a game that you might like.
Nah, I watched Jack Move play it for a while, and I was like, no, thank you.
Was he having fun?
Yeah, he was.
Yeah, everyone's having fun with Helldivers 2. Except for Sean.
I mean, my parents aren't playing it. Why is everyone having fun with it?
You might like it too, Evan.
I've watched it, and I've talked to my friend. They almost pulled me into it. They said they were going to think of playing it, and then I asked them after I got back from learning a game if they were going to still go with it, and they're like, this is probably one weekend. And I was like, all right, I won't buy it then.
Well, I almost had you. That's fine. All right. Well, we have the part 2 for the demo next 11 days. So we'll try it out. We'll report back. But I'm curious. What do you think this game's going to score? We've played a little bit of it. The reviews are out. Like, the review codes are out. People are playing it now. They're getting set for the reviews.
What did the first one get?
88, 87 or 88.
This one may hit a 90. Maybe.
I'm kind of thinking it might break into the 90s.
It might get to 90. I think it's going to score around the same, but I think maybe a little higher on the higher end.
Yeah, I think this is going to be one that breaks into that 90. I could see like a 90 or 91, provided the graphical issues or the frame rate isn't as obvious on the final release. I think they'll be okay. I'm also thinking this might be a PS5 Pro game. We might need one of those.
Wow, that we need a PS5 Pro.
Need a PS5 Pro. When's that out? It's in it's out. Apparently it's out in like what? 9 months? That's what the word was, right? This and Helldivers 2. Let's go. We need it. All right. Well, it's a good thing that Sean's here. I'm gonna need you for this one, Sean. The king of Xbox, right? Do you have nicknames for each system? Like you're the king or the...
No, I'm the king of Xbox and PlayStation. King of emulation.
Merely a Duke of Nintendo.
Yeah, I mean, if that. More of a jester.
More like a reagent or something.
Well, I don't know. There's enough jester Nintendo content creators out there already.
Well, it was a week of Xbox. Sean was actually... You were covering this quite a bit, Sean.
Yeah, I found it...
popping up with videos all the time.
People seemed interested. I was interested in it enough to follow it. So,
were you interested in the reactions or the actual stuff happening?
A little of both. I mean, I wouldn't call them reactions. I would call them overreactions. People automatically assuming the worst with all of it, and I don't know. I guess people liked my videos because I tried to be a bit more level-headed than some.
Can I ask a question though, Sean?
Yeah,
Did you hold the line?
love isn't always on time.
No, I'm just asking. Did you hold the line? Are you holding the line or no? Which
Yeah.
one?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
hold the line. Okay.
Yeah.
How about did you go out to eat with Aaron Greenberg or with Phil Spencer?
No. That's this is a these are business people. You shouldn't be developing parasocial relationships with them. Like there's a reason, as much as I give Jim Ryan shit, he's not out there following fans on Twitter and going out to eat with them and shit like that. Like I don't know, that's not a good relationship. It's a very
If
one-sided.
Sarah Bond asked you to out for dinner, not anything like just like as a friend, would you go?
As a friend, no.
What about
If she was trying to fuck, yeah, we go.
Jesus Christ.
Whoa! I did not take it there as a friend.
Oh.
Jesus,
well,
she's married, sir. She's married.
It ain't stopped me.
Hasn't stopped Sean before.
So the past week, really, like things accelerated because we had more and more reports breaking around some of these Xbox exclusive games going to other platforms. Sony, the PlayStation, Nintendo with their Switch. Hi-Fi Rush seems basically accepted at this point, along with Sea of Thieves. So those two people are seemingly okay with now because Starfield came up, Indiana Jones came up, Gears of War came up. Although it seems uncertain about Starfield now. Nate put out a statement about it. I think Xbox Era, who originally ran the report, are still behind their report. I'm not really sure what's going to happen with that whole thing with Starfield right now. But basically, these games going to other platforms, a lot of concerns came up around the viability of hardware from Microsoft and Xbox. But Phil Spencer, apparently in an internal memo, said that they are indeed going to continue with hardware. And I guess they wanted to put that out there before this week coming up, where they're going to put their business event out there. So after everything that's happened this week, what do we think this business event is going to have? What do we think they're going to show up and say?
I think they'll probably confirm that some titles will be multi-platform. Probably the two games that have been mentioned before, that being Hi-Fi Rush and Sea of Thieves. I don't think Starfield and Indiana Jones and some of these other kind of rumors, like I heard Hellblade 2 and Gears of War. I heard all these like big games. I even heard Halo, Master Chief, and Infinite. I don't think any of that is real. I think a lot of that is just a combination of people, spreading misinformation, fear-mongering, fear, uncertainty, doubt, all that sort of stuff. But I think really what they're probably just going to do is confirm that, yes, some titles will become multi-platform, and just kind of reassure everyone that Xbox isn't going anywhere, that, the brand is going to continue. They're going to stay the course. Game Pass is still, a big part of their plans. And really, that's it. I don't know how well it's going to get received, John, to be honest. I think, there are a lot of people out there, a lot of kind of diehard fans. Some of them, don't want to see anything go multi-platform. So I think anything that does get announced that's multi-platform won't be good enough. But I think generally speaking, the overall response to this, I would imagine, would be one of just overreaction and it's happening, but it's not really happening in a big way. It's kind of very, very small, but we'll see. I mean, like this week has been interesting, just to kind of watch it all unfold. There's been obviously a lot of unhappy Xbox fans. There's been a lot of Twitter Spaces this week. I've jumped in a couple of them myself.
I saw you. MG was making the rounds.
Yeah, man. Tim Dog's out there, getting everyone in his Twitter Spaces every day. So I thought I'd jump in and take a listen. Look, I think there's definitely a lot of overreacting going on. I think there is a lot of people that are, just making up shit as they go. But look, I don't know. Like, I think Microsoft has to take a look at the way that they, provide their messaging, because a lot of it is just kind of reactive. And I think there's just so much confusion and uncertainty, and they kind of put themselves in this situation. So I think if anything I would take away from this week is really that Microsoft needs to do a better job with communication, with messaging, with getting ahead of things that are going to happen, and stop, confusing their messaging. A lot of people now think that Game Pass is no longer the most important thing to them. And they have to get ahead of that stuff. They have to be very, very clear in their messaging and communication. So I think that's really the big takeaway for me.
But speaking of the recent activities, is that Microsoft's fault, or is it websites and quote unquote reporters and insiders who are saying all of this stuff, and then people running in the complete opposite, direction with it? Like, because if you take it from Microsoft's perspective, what was the last thing that we really heard from them? Was the developer direct? And here's Avowed, here's Indiana Jones, and you know what I'm saying? Like, I feel like this was more of an internet culture thing that just spiraled out of control. And like, I don't know. It's kind of weird to me how people just like demand answers on stuff that hasn't been said by the company. You know what I'm saying? Like, Microsoft didn't say any of this. It's all just been rumors and speculation. That would be like Furukawa going out there every time Nintendo Prime makes a Switch 2 video and being like, "Oh no, not this time." You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know. Because then what's going to happen is, because this has been embellished so much, it seems like next week's thing isn't going to be that big of a deal, and all these delusional Xbox fans are going to be like, "We did it. We stopped them from doing this." And it's like, no, it was never the plan in the first place.
Right.
You made this up in your head over this. Like, I don't know, man. It's weird to me.
I mean, if that's how it's going to come across, that the fans are going to say, "We did it. We stopped this," then that's probably a win for Microsoft, because they probably would walk away feeling good about it. Look, I don't disagree with you. The media has obviously, the outlets have run this story into the ground, and there's, they've basically written articles about, things that have been claimed to be real, right? Like, it's claimed that Gears of War is going multi-plat. It's claimed that Starfield is. It's claimed that, Halo Infinite is, right? So yeah, I do agree with that aspect. I don't know, man. I just feel like they're always in this defensive mode, that they're like responding to something that's happening, responding to some criticism, responding to some concerns. Like, this isn't the first time that this has happened where they've come out and responded to something. And I don't know, you don't see Nintendo really do that. You don't really see Sony do that. They just kind of go about their business. So I feel like if there's anything that they could learn, is to stop getting themselves in that situation somehow. But I don't disagree with what you're saying. They never talked about any of this stuff with regards to multi-platform, and they were probably going to communicate it at some point anyway. It just so happened that, there was some leaks that happened to get that info out early. So, look, I don't know. I think this week has just been insane all around, and honestly, John, I just can't wait for them just to make this announcement, and so we can move on. We can all move on with our lives.
Monday morning.
Well,
put it out there.
Hopefully it's Monday morning.
The thing that's really funny, though, is people looked at what was happening, and then they looked in Xbox's direction, Phil Spencer, Aaron Greenberg, Sarah Bond, anyone really, and say, "Oh, you're going to say something now," and they didn't. Like, they wouldn't say, and that's what I think is the right thing to do at this point. It's because they tend to get themselves into trouble when they talk too much, like in interviews or on Twitter, whatever it is, responses, changing profile pics, different things. Again, Sean mentioned that, or it was mentioned that Jim Ryan doesn't interact or do anything really, right? And he got his face on a cookie, so on the way out. So he I don't even know if he knows how to use a computer, right? I don't know, but the fact that I don't know is probably a good thing, because that means he's not necessarily, making the rounds.
There's something to be said about that, that faceless, big billion-dollar corporation that just doesn't talk to anyone directly.
The issue, though, it's like Microsoft needs to hire a PR company to deal with their content creators that they want to talk with. Like, Nintendo hires a PR company. talk to anybody from Nintendo. They don't care who I am. They have a PR company that handles anything that I do with them, and that's that, and that's the relationship. It starts and stops with just whatever. So Microsoft, their executives, like he's like the executive in terms of like marketing and stuff. Like he shouldn't be interacting with people like to that level. Like hire a company, let them deal with all of the other people and stuff, and you guys can work on whatever you guys need to work on, you know? So that's what I would say, Microsoft in the future. Stop having the top executives handle PR like that.
Yeah, I don't even know how they do some games and not others. Like they're saying it's case by case basis. Like if you bring over, let's just say just for speculation's sake, let's say they do bring over Indiana Jones. What's stopping them from bringing over any other big game they announce going forward? And wouldn't people just believe that anyway? Wouldn't they think, well, they brought Indiana Jones, so the Gear 6 is obviously going to go over too?
But it's not day and date, so what does it really matter? And it launches on PC as well. You know, that's actually day and date. So I mean, I don't know if you're like, you know, you got an Xbox, you got Game Pass. Okay, well, assuming that Game Pass doesn't change, but they're like, hey, you know what? You can play this the day it comes out via Game Pass on your Xbox. It's included in your Game Pass membership. Or a year later, you can buy it for $70 on the PlayStation 5. Like, I mean, if I have an Xbox, why wouldn't I just play it on the Xbox? You have that incentive to play it early. I mean, because if that's the case, then timed exclusives are just pointless. Why are these companies wasting money on timed exclusives? Because it works to some degree.
Right. You did bring up something interesting though, Sean, with Game Pass, and this is something that if this happens, I'm curious the reaction, because I think this is the part that might get people more than even exclusives. If Game Pass changes to where day one releases aren't necessarily guaranteed even to the top tier. So the whole run this time has been all our first party games will go in. They now own Activision Blizzard, so people kind of expect Call of Duty to eventually go in there, but if they look at the numbers and realize Call of Duty can't go in there and they have to break that news, that kind of seems like a problem.
Yep.
Like FVG, you said that's like a deal breaker.
No, don't engage them. Don't engage them. Just, yep,
No,
sure is.
I do want to engage. That would be a problem if they have Call of Duty and they don't put it on Game Pass. That's a problem because number one, why are you subscribing to Game Pass? Is the question, and number two, it really shows that you don't. You're kind of playing favorites. Like you're not really putting, your faith in the brand, that you've kind of built up for many, many years by excluding the biggest game of the year every single year. So why wouldn't you put Call of Duty on Game Pass? That doesn't make any sense. I mean, I think from their aspect, it's probably something they're considering because they don't really care where you play Call of Duty. If you're playing it on PlayStation, you're getting your money no matter what, right? So there's definitely that aspect to it. But if you're basically just giving a middle finger to your Game Pass subscribers and you're not putting Call of Duty on it, then I think that's a problem, personally, that they have to figure out.
Yeah, I like they're going to have to address a lot of stuff. And I don't know if it's a press release. I don't know if it's a video. It seems like a lot for the marketing department and these Xbox and Windows execs to figure out. But it's gonna be interesting to see what happens this week, because one way or the other, major reactions online, because this whole time people are carefully placing their Xboxes in the trash can with a bunch of stuff under it to make sure it doesn't get dirty, and trading stuff into GameStop. This whole time has been based on like just rumors and reports.
That's insane to me.
From Microsoft.
That is wild to sit that it's not even confirmed.
No, it's not. Yeah, no, they could come out this week and be like, "No, we're going more exclusive. Like we're not doing any of that." Like, what if they came out and just completely like swerved everyone?
I mean,
I don't know.
Probably nothing is going to happen next week, but you can't rule out that they may announce something that we weren't really expecting.
I think there's just going to be a couple games, smaller games, live service games that, yes, they're going to go to another platform. Okay, they've been on the platform for at least a year. You know what I'm saying? Like, I don't know.
Shadow Drop Hi-Fi Rush?
I don't think so.
Switch, PlayStation, Shadow Drop it? Business event?
No, because that might happen later. Yeah, it's a business event. What do have they said if this is going to be like a video or just a press release?
We don't know.
They're being super vague about this. It does feel like behind the scenes at Microsoft, there are two different factions struggling right now.
Yeah, there's Microsoft and there's Xbox.
Yeah, because even Phil Spencer's statement was very, business-like, yes, but just straightforward, and he said nothing else after that. It's like, I'm not addressing anything out there. Business event this week. I'll see you then. Don't know when, just we'll see you at some point. That was it. Like, he hasn't said anything else.
I mean, I'll say this, Matt. If Microsoft does decide to just do like, hey, we're going to become like do multi-platform, they could become the biggest publisher and make $1 bazillion, you know?
Yeah, they would. They would become the biggest publisher in gaming at that point with what they have. And I will say, if they are all fully multi-plat at that point, then there wouldn't be much reason for them not to be able to buy more studios. Like, the FTC's case was just, we think you're going to keep all this stuff away from other platforms. So if they're fully multi-plat and they just happen to make hardware as well, it's like, well, what
Microsoft is they're in a unique position, you know? Like, nobody has as much money as them to do what they're doing. They $1 trillion company. I mean, they can kind of do what they want here, but I don't know. I don't feel the need, even if they didn't have exclusives, like, I don't think that means it's the end of Xbox hardware. If people want to go like doomsday scenario, they don't make they put their games on other systems. Like, I don't think that ends everything. I think it's just like, hey, look, you can still buy an Xbox and that's still a good device, you know, and you can play your games on there if you like the interface and achievements and all that other stuff that comes with Xbox. So I don't know. I think they're going to be fine. Like, I don't think this is going to turn into this. Like, I saw so many panic podcasts and Twitter spaces. I'm just like, it's not, I don't think it's going to be anything like this crazy, man. Y'all doing too much. Y'all too extra for no reason.
Like, now Sony, the PlayStation 5 has become like the default box that you buy, like the console. I was trying to figure out for a while what was selling the PS5, because I don't know if Spider-Man 2 had an impact, but like even before that, we really haven't gotten a ton of big first-party games, exclusive games from Sony. I mean, Helldivers II just came out. That's on PC as well, so it technically follows what Microsoft's been doing this whole time. But it's really just, hey, you have a PlayStation, or my friend has a PlayStation, I'm gonna get a PlayStation, and it's kind of just domino effects from there. So I kind of think Microsoft realizes, oh, okay, it's gonna be very difficult to win this, so multi-plat time. But we'll see. Again, I feel like people have built this up, as you mentioned, Sean, to be much bigger than it probably will be. And I think it's going to be somewhat boring, because I don't think it's going to be too surprising. The only surprise that would really catch me off guard is maybe if they announce new hardware. That's the only thing that would surprise me. And I'm not even saying like next generation. If they're like, here's that revision that we said plans changed, but now we're doing it. Or here's this handheld.
Why would they do that at a business meeting?
To double down on hardware.
So the announcement itself is probably going to be boring, right? I think we all agree that. But going forward, how does Microsoft communicate, you know, the games that they announce, the platforms? Because like people don't even know if like Blade is multi-platform or Indiana Jones. I've seen so many discussions around Indiana Jones, right? Like, I mean, look, it's probably exclusive day one Game Pass, but like, I feel like, again, they've put themselves in a situation where they now have to communicate every single announcement they make, every single first-party game that they reveal, where it's going to end up, because now they've kind of they're opening up not the floodgates, they're turning the tap on, right, and drip feeding some of their games to other platforms. So how do you kind of communicate that going forward? Like, if they don't, because I feel like now that everyone's going to ask the question, is this going to be exclusive, or is this multi-plat, or is this something that we'll announce later on?
But like, what about Ori? What about Cuphead? Like,
I mean, but like, how do they communicate it to people? Like, so for example, with the state of play for Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, at the end of it, it actually tells us when the game could show up on other platforms. There's a date at the end. It's clearly there. I think it's like May end of May basically, is like it's on PS5 specifically until this day, and it was like May 29th, 2024. So it's actually only on the PS5 for I think 3 months until it could go to PC or something else, is what it said. So that's I don't know if they do that. Is there a date, or if it's only ever going to be on Xbox? Let's say Starfield never goes anywhere else. Do they bring back that yellow stamp only on Xbox?
I don't do that. I don't think they close themselves off from that, because if they put that stamp on and then a year later go, maybe we should.
Right.
Like, it just feels weird because it's not.
That's true.
And this isn't just them. I mean, Daemon X Machina dropped and it was on Switch, and then no one knew it was coming to PC until shortly after, and they didn't say anything about that. Like, Capcom games were doing that for a while there with all their remakes. It's just companies just do whatever, really.
To answer your question, Sean, I mean, Ori and Cuphead, I mean, that's a valid response, but we're not talking about Ori and Cuphead. We're talking about big AAA games that they've been in development for like 6 years.
Are we though?
Starfield, like a
because
Blade.
because Starfield just came up, and then a lot of people walked it back. Really, the only things we've been talking about were what? Hi-Fi Rush, smaller game, Ori Scale, and Sea of Thieves, a games as a service game. Came out 7 years ago on the Xbox One.
Is Cuphead a first-party game?
It was
it's first party published, but I mean the developer it's an indie developer, but I think Microsoft owns the rights to that, so
yeah, I'm not sure how that one works. Actually, now I'm thinking about it.
I think Microsoft they definitely have a publisher deal, and I think Microsoft does own the rights, or they own the rights to distribute that game, because in the leaked email, Aaron Greenberg was like, he was all freaking out about how to phrase this version of the game, which shows to me that they have some type of ownership with it. I mean, if it was just like, hey, it's just their game, not it's somewhere else, I don't think it would have been that big of a deal, but he was like freaking out how they're going to talk about the game in one of the leaked emails. So I mean, that kind of shows me that Microsoft has some stake in that game, particularly Cuphead as well.
Yeah, I'm not sure what that relationship was exactly. As the studio MDHR developed and at least had enough pull to be able to go and do like their own series and stuff with streaming. But yeah, I mean, you're right. Right now, Sean, we're just talking about apparently Hi-Fi Rush, Sea of Thieves, and potential for some other big game. Indiana Jones, I guess, is the one that people, which those licensed games do actually make sense from Microsoft's side to put
Disney
on other platforms.
Who owns it? Disney. Disney just went balls deep into Epic Games. You think Disney wants that only on one platform? No.
The reason I say they don't is because we saw the information with Insomniac, and Marvel was setting up all kinds, of course, with Disney, was setting up all kinds of stipulations for if the game doesn't sell a certain amount, they'll cut the contract. And we're talking about this thing on Xbox with Game Pass, and at this point, it's pretty obvious that sales for a lot of these games aren't where they want it to be. Otherwise, they wouldn't be looking elsewhere to sell it. You have a game like Indiana Jones that probably has stipulations like that from Disney, then yeah, I feel like those licensed games, and Blade even, probably will go elsewhere to try to sell enough copies. But Starfield, I don't know. I'm still unsure on that one. But we'll find it. Okay, so at the end of the state of play, I just want to double check. It says not available on other formats until at least 5/29/2024. So 3 months is basically until it could show up somewhere else, other formats, they say, which it's probably like, okay, at this point in time, you could see a PC version somewhere. So, or at least PC version announced. So that maybe they could do that. But Monday morning, come on, get that press release out there.
You keep saying Monday morning. You don't know it's Monday morning, John. It could be Friday afternoon at 5:00.
Thursday at 2 a.m.
Well, he films Xbox Direct. I mean, I hope it's Saturday, because you film Xbox Direct or you do Xbox Direct on Friday. I hope it's Saturday, so you have to sit there and twiddle your thumbs for 7 hours to drag it all out. And Nate's
tell you what, if they're gonna wait that long, Phil, you might as well show up. You can come by Direct Xbox. You make the announcements there.
We got all right, Tim Dog. All right, Tim Dog.
We got you covered. I say get it out there as soon as possible, because I'd like something to get out there so we can
We can move on. We can get on with our lives.
Yeah. Yep. Or it can get exponentially worse for all we know. So who knows? We'll see.
And then everyone's going to be like, I was right. We'll see.
Sean's going to be losing it, not responding to most people.
About what?
They changed it, Sean. They changed everything.
What do you mean?
They did it. They changed everything.
Okay.
The community.
Oh God, no! I ignore most of those people. I only follow a few fellow Xbox YouTubers.
As soon as the announcement is done, I'm jumping in Tim Dog's live stream, Twitter Spaces.
Bag of popcorn in hand.
Phil might be there with you. They broke bread together. So.
Yep, 7 hours.
I mean, I'm surprised Phil didn't email him like he wanted. He wanted him to send him an email just to give him a heads up.
I'm sure Phil follows him on Twitter because they all, so he can just slide.
But he didn't give him a heads up. He was upset that he didn't give him a heads up like an email. He didn't respond back to his email.
Television Amico. It's the same parallels with the parasocial relationships.
True.
Phil Tallarico.
Oh.
It's a horrifying concept. Opening Photoshop now.
That person's too powerful. If there was ever a Phil Tallarico, that person would. That's too powerful.
The ultimate fusion.
That person would bullshit you to death.
Phil Spencer and Tallarico do the fusion dance, dude. I don't know. We're all in trouble if that shit happens.
Let me go over to the super chats here. We will have Randall Thor will be with us next Saturday night to go over what Microsoft announced. So that'll be fun. We'll have a fellow Xbox YouTuber here with you, Sean.
About damn time.
Rand is actually sane though. That's the thing.
The Casual Noob Gamer says, will you all try to not report on leaks, rumors, and spoilers in the future? Seeing what unverified claims can have a negative impact on all involved.
No, because exactly what you just said. Because there's going to be people. It doesn't matter if John or anyone doesn't do it. There's going to be people that do it, and the people that are doing it are going to be the ones that believe everything. They're not going to do any sort of research or anything. Like tomorrow, there's going to be a video that goes out from a lot of people of a certain video game console fandom where they're going to be praising this thing as actual factual, but nobody researched it except for one man, and that man is me. So you have to have you'll see. You have to have people counterbalancing the insanity of it. So no, I think people should.
Are you talking about Switch 2 stuff again?
I think people should, but the problem is you need to have a system of checks and balances. You need to have people that look into the people making the claims instead of just being like, oh, this is a real, like, it ain't no Tommy Bear nose around these parts, pal.
You're going to put a bullet on it this time, or you're not going to say names like you always do?
No, the guilty parties can feel guilty. I'm not
they
addressing
won't.
any, and that's fine.
Mighty Ryan says Sony is buying Microsoft, calling it now.
Hey, let's go.
IRS says PS Employee of the Year, clown emoji, Phil Spencer. Cody Bishop says after all the hate hype around Redfall has passed, has anyone here revisited it?
No.
Premise and graphics are good. Gameplay loop is also engaging and fun. I have not revisited.
If only it released in that format.
Did they add any content to it?
Any of the new characters they promised?
I think so.
They
have to deliver the DLC because they already promised it and sold a package that had the DLC in it. So they have to keep working on the game.
We got all those rare achievements, so I'm good. I don't want to go back and revisit.
One of them was an hour in and it popped up to 0.02% or something.
I mean, if there's no new content, then I have no reason to go back to it.
There you go.
Like we all beat it.
This is from Deez, who says, first time catching the stream live. You all do a great job. Appreciate the Spawncast. What's up, OJ?
Sit.
Jorge says, if Switch 2 was like a Steam Deck with no Joy-Cons, would that, along with a Pro Controller and dock, be $400? Can Ring Fit come back with no Joy-Cons?
Detachable Joy-Con. Did you see that commercial that Nintendo did? That was weird, dude. What the fuck was that shit?
Sean made a post on Twitter.
Yeah, it has a
40-second commercial. He submitted it to Nintendo.
No, I didn't do it. I saw it. It like popped up on TV or something.
Is that their Super Bowl commercial?
I think so. I think the Super Bowl commercial leaked early.
Worth millions. I like it. Michael
Well,
says, "What is the?" They asked about the Switch 2 with no Joy-Cons. Would they be able to do that along with Pro Controller and dock for $400? And can Ring Fit make a comeback with no Joy-Cons?
Yes, because if you have Joy-Con compatibility, you know.
Wait, are they saying for $400 you get a controller bundled with?
Yeah, you get a controller with it instead of Joy-Cons.
Yeah, I could see that.
That's better.
Yeah, I agree.
It'd be crazy as if they just kept the same Joy-Cons and all the Joy-Cons you have now are just... It's like how we had the Wii Remote with the Wii U. They just keep using the same things, whatever. We'll deal with the class action stuff. Michael says, what is the easiest and most affordable way to play Silent Hill 1? I have a Raspberry Pi 3B, but PS1 emulation is confusing.
No, it's not. It's pretty easy. I mean, you can play PS1 on your fucking phone like easily. Like, I mean, you just have to like just watch like an emulation tutorial. Just download DuckStation, watch a tutorial on how to set it up, and like you'll be playing in 5 to 10 minutes.
If you have an Android phone, get DuckStation. It's on the Google Play Store.
Emulation is so much better now. It used to be a disaster back in the day.
No, CD Romance got DMCA'd? No way.
Toss of what?
Damn.
What did?
Rip.
CD Romance. No way.
Of SC showing interest in an HD2D Final Fantasy VI remake made me think some could do that smaller scale project along with Final Fantasy VII Remake 3 separate teams.
Yep.
Joel says, MVG, next time you find an exploit, let me know. You increase the price of Alien 10X before you post the video. Hit me up so I can buy every copy overnight. Jeff says, say what you will about... Say what... He doesn't even tell us. I knew about that video when everyone else did.
Which one?
It was too late. The one with the exploit on the PS1 where he uncovered the secret.
The alien resurrection video I did.
Good video.
Oh, wow. Wait. They took down all the files. Just go to Vim's
they don't
layer.
Host.
Wow.
And Vim's been around forever.
I literally just used CD Romance like a week or two ago to get some GameCube shit for the Amberneck handheld. That's crazy.
Jeff D says, say what you will about toxic fans, but they got me through last Monday at work. Those Twitter spaces are hilarious. Caleb says, all of you are great. Thanks for your work. David says, whether it's a Nintendo Direct or a partner showcase, we need to keep our eyes peeled for Penny's big breakaway, possible shadow drop.
Interesting.
Slade says, did I miss the Rebirth talk? Was it blurry to y'all? Yes, it was.
Yes, it was.
We discussed it earlier. It was blurry. On performance, on regular quality mode, it was fine, but it's more sluggish, obviously. So JT says, the only thing I don't like about Nate is he said he never upgraded to an OLED. Other than that, keep up the great content. Oh,
he has a Samsung Galaxy fucking 5. That's what should really piss you off.
Nate the frugal.
Well, Rufflemutt says Helldivers 2, now Final Fantasy 7 Rebirth, have the PS5 reached its peak? Oh, in terms of like graphics and performance. I'm not sure. Helldivers 2, I will say there's a lot of stuff happening in that game when the frame rate slows down, but Rebirth was the one that actually like shocked me quite a bit. So I gotta see this is a demo. I gotta see the full game first. But if so, hey, PS5 Pro coming. It's on the way. Brian says, hi, Spawncast. MVG, when is Toomba coming out for the Switch?
When it's ready.
Catch you in this. It's ready.
Oh, wait a minute. That's new. When it's ready. I like, before you said nothing. Now you say when it's ready. I like it. Just saying it's a change. That's all.
Moving on.
Start the rumors.
Trevor says, yeah, people are really excited for that Toomba game, MVG. People keep an eye on that.
Person really excited for that Toomba specifically, just person.
Brian is. Trevor says, my wife got me tickets and a flight to go to PRGE for my birthday, my first RetroCon ever. Any advice for a first-time convention attendee? Cash or card? Negotiating with sellers okay or not? Arcade's free to play or need 25 cents?
At PRGE, which I've gone to a couple of times, the arcade is free. So you got, free, free credits, whatever you call it, free play on all the machines. Cash or card is fine. If you are wanting to get something, sometimes it's best to wait till the last day because, when the vendors are kind of, trying to wrap up their...
None of them want to repack that up.
A lot of them will cut a better deal with you, but you also run the risk of missing out on something because there's other people that want the same thing as you. So overall, just have a good time. Enjoy it.
Make sure you bring some hand sanitizer.
That's very, very good
Be
advice.
constantly bathing in it at all times.
That's a good one. Yeah, don't be afraid to haggle a bit on the floor.
Yeah,
Even
haggle.
if you don't want something, try to get a deal.
Even throw in a low ball and see what happens.
Yeah.
Just
just grab something off the shelf. Be like, end this. Don't even look at it. This is from Yo Peeps. This is how come Sony just doesn't make Bravias with PlayStation in them as well. Take another shot with the PlayStation phone.
Didn't they used to do that? Wasn't there like an old school
There's a
Bravia
PS2
TV that has PS2 in it or something? Yeah.
I've been looking for one of those for a while. I would not mind getting one to do a video on, but the Sony 3D TV, they did that. It was set up for PlayStation. The phone, you do the phone video too, MG.
Yep.
So they've done some weird stuff, but I mean, there's talks about them maybe exploring handheld after we saw like the Portal come out, and they were doing some weird accessories and stuff now. So I'd like to see them do something strange like that, but I'm not counting. Although they're going to put the PS5 in a car. That kind of counts, right? That's coming in 2026. Them and Honda.
That doesn't count, John.
They drove the car with the DualSense. They drove it out on stage. Okay. MTS says RGT and OJ Cold Eastwood got a DM saying next week will be better and don't believe everything you read. Will everything be okay?
From who?
Sean, is everything going to be okay? King of Xbox, is everything going to be okay?
Hold the line.
Yes, I think it will be.
Wait.
Okay.
He said everything's going to be okay. That sounds like Kumbaya again. What are we?
Everything's gonna be all right.
I got Alan Morales here. Pretty cool emoji with the sunglasses coming down. And then AJ says, thinking of finally getting an OLED TV. Do I get the C3 now or hold out for the C4 between 65-inch or 77-inch?
I think Snake's selling on the C4. You can hold out for that. Okay, bad joke. Moving on.
The C3 is a nice set. If you don't have an OLED yet, pretty much any current OLED you buy now is going to be incredible to you. But I mean, I would look at the feature set for the C4, but the C3 has been a pretty good gaming TV for most people. So, but when the C4 comes out, C3 goes on sale. So you can also think of it that way. Let's talk about real quick. We had Disney invest $1.5 billion stake into Epic Games. Fortnite's going to be building with Disney IPs, Marvel, Star Wars, Avatar. These are all named. And Fortnite, after building out what looked like Guitar Hero Rock Band in the game, then they also had like Lego Racing or Legos, and then they also had like a racing game and stuff in Fortnite. So it's not even Fortnite anymore. I thought this would have been Josie's topic, really, because she obviously is familiar with Fortnite more so than any of us old people, and then Disney. But look, hey, Fortnite making deals with Disney becoming very involved here. I don't know how much bigger Fortnite's going to get, but it's going to be around for a while. It's probably going to make some big money. And something else I wanted to bring up was VR, virtual reality. So Ubisoft, we talked about that. Hold on, we talked about Assassin's Creed VR. We said we looked interesting. I feel like that was you, Sean.
Yes.
That was you. Okay, that was you. And none of us bought it and looked at it or anything, right?
No.
Okay, so Easy Elmo has a point then. All right, good. They did two things the other day. They called Skull and Bones a quadruple A game, and that's why it's $70. Okay, and they said that they are disappointed in sales for Assassin's Creed VR, so much so that they're pulling back investments on VR gaming as a whole. They're just they need the space to evolve more. But I feel like we've been saying that for almost at this point, 7 years, I think. Ever since the original PSVR came out, we had some cool tech demos, and that was kind of it. We were like, well, we'll see where this goes from here. I'm kind of wondering if VR and gaming is never really going to have that moment where it just takes off. Like, it kind of feels like it's stalled, and that's sort of it.
I feel like I've been saying for years on this very show, and I'm sure you're well aware of, it's always just going to be a novelty. It's never going to replace anything. Developers can try all, like, these fucking Apple Vision people. They had some motherfucker that was courtside at a basketball game using the Apple headset. Did people think that's cool? No, they laughed at him. They roasted him on the internet because it's always going to be a niche thing. Cool. It's good for experiences, but video games for most people, for a lot of people, especially if you're trying to cater towards console people exist because they don't want to play on PC. And there's a lot of us. You know what I'm saying? So, and yeah, VR, some people can't handle VR. You're taking a niche audience and making it even more niche. And, I don't know how much they invested in it, but what did they expect to sell?
Yeah,
there has to be some sort of sales data for games to determine whether or not, like, are people using. I mean, it's fucking Facebook. They track everything. They know when you take a shit. So, like, I feel like they would have, at least some bare bones access to seeing how many games sell on there. And I have to imagine we're talking for a game that's considered quote unquote successful, tens of thousands, maybe. Like, I don't know how far the reach is, but I know it's nowhere near what a lot of these companies think it will be.
It is. That was a big release too, having Assassin's Creed go full VR, and it didn't move the needle for them at all. Like, to the point where they're like, we're just losing money on this. And we've seen studios close down that were looking for support for PSVR 2 with their release, and it wasn't there. And then some just saying they're not going to even bother porting over to PSVR 2, even if it's on PSVR 1. It seems like while the headsets are selling, because I know the Quest 2 and Quest 3 had a really good holiday, and they have like over 12 or 13 million headsets out there right now, which for VR, that's more than I expect. Maybe it's just not a thing for gaming. Maybe it's just like serious gaming where they make, sell millions of copies or something like that. Maybe it's just, sort of a fun thing you have. It's like pinball that came with Windows XP, and it was fun, but you weren't like, oh, this is it. This is future gaming. Yeah. I will say though, I wouldn't mind trying the Apple Vision Pro, but in its current form, I don't think I would be walking around with that outside. It's like $35.
It's how motherfuckers driving with that shit. Like, what? I wouldn't do that either.
I don't think you're supposed to do that. Yeah, the Apple Vision, it needs to be. I'm waiting for the Apple Vision like 20 years from now, or like 15
where it's just
years
glasses.
From now. Yeah, where it's just like super cool. That's when I'm like, all right, this is dope. I ain't buying no damn Shaun White snowboarding goggles and walking outside.
Like that, yeah. Like, you got the cable coming down because you got to carry the battery around with you.
So dorky, dude. Like, just it looks. Don't get me wrong, that's cool tech, but I like what they're doing. I'm not walking around with all that, like with all that on my face like that.
I like people will get robbed. Like,
that's an easy target.
Someone is punching you right in the face.
Yeah,
don't go to Compton with one of those. I'll tell you that right now. Don't roll around Compton with that, because you definitely getting. I mean, they steal much less.
If you walk down the street,
there,
someone can just yank that off your head and just run off with one, and that's it. There's a $3,500 investment. I
will say that you see the people posting up videos of what it looks like through their point of view. If like where they're just putting stuff, it's like augmented reality, but they're just putting stuff in their room, and okay, that's cool, but I feel like it has to get down to where it's just glasses you put on, and you're not even really thinking about it. Then it's okay, that makes sense.
What's cool about it?
Just like augmented reality for the world around you. I'll give you an example, Sean. So there was I remember people were talking about it, and I checked it out, and this is a thing where if you have, for example, the Apple Vision glasses on, and you're cooking, you can look at what's in your fridge, and it will just give you a bunch of recipes for what it sees. So they pair that with AI, and then when you're cooking, for example, you can have a pot with a timer, and it puts the timer above the pod or like a thing that counts down there over it, and you can kind of walk around your kitchen and it'll stay there above it, so you can kind of glance at it here and there, and it'll tell you how much longer you have.
This doesn't help Sean at all. Sean,
what's cool about this? Because nothing you said is cool.
No, yeah, Sean, you look at your game collection and ask it how much all of it is worth online, and it gives you basically set numbers so you know what to sell immediately, rather than having to scroll through eBay and everything. Yeah, see,
like it can pick up stuff in your environment and feed you information.
Now, granted, it's super expensive, so I mean, you're not really gonna make that much money.
You can augment the Hogan room with more stuff.
You can have a virtual Hogan in the Hogan room talking to you.
I have the standee. It's 6'8".
That's just the standee, though.
Yeah,
kind of scares you sometimes if the door's open and you walk by, especially at night. I'm going like I half asleep, going down for like a cheese stick or something, and like catches a corner of my eye. I'm like, ah!
See, if you were wearing the glasses and they had night vision built in, you wouldn't have that.
I'm not fucking wearing those. I'm not buying them. I'm
talking about when we get to a future where they're just glasses you put on, not like that. Like
I'll be dead by
put glasses on.
You will not be dead by then.
Hopefully I will be.
I'll be dead by then.
No, you will not be dead.
You definitely will be.
I will definitely be dead.
Dude, it's gonna be like
will both of those deaths be related? Is this something we should?
10 years from now.
Within 10 years from now,
he'll be in a nursing home eating dinner at 4 p.m.
I don't know which dude. Denzel Washington looks great at 70. Okay, he's
Denzel Washington has fuck you money. I don't think MVG is quite there yet.
He's got a pool.
You don't know about me.
Yeah, he's got steaks. He's got steaks. He's got a pool.
He's got a pool. He's got a grill.
You know, that's all man needs to live long, bro. Got a loving wife.
Yeah, I'm curious how it goes, but right now I think I'm good with the Apple Vision. I wouldn't mind trying it, but I'm not going to even go to the Apple store to do that. So,
John, I say that if you went to an Apple store and you tried one, I swear you're going to walk out with one. I know you'll buy one.
I'm not that deep.
I'm surprised you didn't get one, John. I'll be honest.
Look at price tag. Thanks, tax write-off.
That's like that price tag. I'd have to come up with like a couple video ideas on the thing where I'm like, yeah, this makes sense to do. Because I don't really see myself walking around wearing it all the time. Like people show themselves like walking around in their house and they turn, look in a mirror, and I'm like, oh, really? That's it's just strange to, I don't know, doesn't line up. But I mean, the future, it could be cool, or who knows, maybe it'll be terrible. Apple Vision Pro. Let me go over to. Actually, come back to the super chats here. Let's talk about Nintendo, because I assume this is what Sean's talking about tomorrow. Not the exact thing, but I assume, Sean, you're talking about a Switch 2 article report thing that went up recently. Thank you. I'm not getting into the specifics for that, Sean. Okay, don't worry.
No, that's fine.
Okay. I assume that's the Universal Nintendo one that went up. Yeah. Okay. Cool. That's fine. I know what you're going to talk about in that, because I looked at it and I was like, that's a Sean video. So I'll stay away from the part of it that I think you're going to go over. But we did have Q&A. We also had sales figures that came out from Nintendo, and part of the Q&A, which was translated at the time, I looked through some of the English stuff and it was a bit off, but there was a funny quote that came out of it, which was unique propositions that Nintendo was going to offer. Whereas people had fun with that on social media. Sure,
the hotels are coming back, pal.
Thank you. So they'll be doing unique propositions, but that to overcome the generational transition, which is a challenge, as they outlined, to go from the Switch to the next system, as they kind of faced challenges and had issues going from like the Wii to the Wii U. Even the DS to the 3DS sold half as many, sure. And they don't necessarily want to sell half as many as their current Switch. Analysts have said that it would sell less technically if it's just an iteration of it and not something groundbreaking again, I guess, like introducing something like the hybrid model, with the Switch hardware now at 139.36 million. Do we think the Switch is indeed going to become the best-selling system of all time? And does Nintendo need something crazy, a unique proposition for the next system to outsell the current Switch with their next one?
Maybe.
I think it's going to come close to the PS2. It's not going to quite get there. I mean, maybe it will, if there's a really long tail for the next couple of years, but I mean, it's going to be right there with the PS2, I feel like. It may get there, it may not, but either way, phenomenal effort. It doesn't really matter where it ends up. I mean, I don't know, John, what this next generation is going to look like and how they're going to, how it's going to go as far as sales. I think it's going to get a good conversion rate, at least initially. I think, Nintendo knows exactly what they need to do to sell a lot of units of the next system. So I think it's going to do very well. But look, this is Furukawa's biggest test as the president. He kind of inherited the Switch, and he's going to oversee the transition to a new generation. I think he's probably feeling a little nervous about it, honestly, because Nintendo hasn't always done very good when it comes to console transitions to the next generation. They've had some stumbles along the way. So I think he's obviously very safe, very, very safe president. We've talked about the way that he kind of runs the show over there. I think everything, is probably going to do very well for him, but I think he's probably feeling a little nervous about it, and definitely his biggest test as the president, for sure.
Okay. What do you think? What do you think, OJ?
Yeah, in terms of catching PS2, it depends on the price drops and like the updates. Like, are they going to continue putting stuff on NSO? If they do that, and if they do price drops, then I think it's going to catch it, and it's not going to be like it's going to catch it. PS2 is on sale for like 13 years or something like that to get to 155. It's already at 140 in about half that time. So it just depends if Nintendo decides to support it with NSO stuff, maybe a game here or two, like a casual game here or two there, and price drops. Like if the price drops and they still continue putting them out, then I think I'll catch it within like 2025, 2026, somewhere in that range. But it depends on that stuff, like I said. When it comes to the transition, yeah, I mean, they've had some tough transitions before in the past. It looks like they're going to continue with the Switch branding and name and games. And I think the biggest situation or the biggest problem that people don't point out is that this is their first transition to where it's not split, where they have portable and home console. That's been their biggest issue, is just being able to supply games, like whether it's like the N64 or outside of like the cartridge stuff and all that, like the games being split. Not having some of your biggest system sellers on a system is not good. Not having Pokemon, or not having Fire Emblem, or not having, these Animal Crossing, like you can't do that in today's day. And you couldn't do that back then, and they ran into those problems. This is the first one where they don't have that problem. Everything's going to be on that system, that new system. They don't have to worry about splitting it. So I think it'll be a bit better in that regard.
Yeah, I'm kind of thinking, I know Unique Proposition could be all kinds of stuff, because they also mention they have mentioned Nintendo account again, like multiple times, as being a big thing for them. They developed Nintendo systems, but I still think there is like some wrinkle that we haven't necessarily thought of, like the 3D that was tacked on with the 3DS. Or you could even say the Wii U with the extra screen. Those weren't necessarily great for the transition, but something to basically put on top of the current concept with the hybrid model. So that's basically what it's going to hinge on, because I feel like if they do an iteration of the current Switch, as people are predicting, I think it'll do well. I don't know if it's going to sell 155 or 160 million. I could see it doing 110 or 120, and that's still really good, but there's that sense of getting the mainstream to want to upgrade, because we're all going to upgrade and we'll buy it right away and play it, but it's getting the moms and the dads to go out and buy it for their kids.
Just depends on the games.
Yeah, you
for me,
gotta have the software. That's going to be important. Do they have something that's as compelling as Animal Crossing, was in 2020, or do they have, the other games? Like, do they have something? Is the next Mario Kart, is that legit a must-have that's going to be on every kid's wish list? If that is, then it's going to do really well. Like, Mario Kart's huge now at this point, right? So if Mario Kart 10 or 9 or whatever you want to call it comes out and it's just like legit incredible, kids are going to ask for it. Mom and dad's going to have to buy the new system to get it. So it's going to depend on that. If it's not worth the upgrade, if they look at the game and be like, I'm okay with Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, then it might not do as well. So the games are going to be super, super, super important.
I mean, that's a really good point. Like, they're going to have to figure out a way to get 60 million people off the Switch and invest in a new Mario Kart game on a new piece of hardware. So whatever the next Mario Kart game is, and of course there is a Mario Kart game that's coming for the new system that has to be. They have to figure out a way to get people compelled onto a new Mario Kart game when you've got Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, which is, you know, an absolute behemoth.
You bring in the other Nintendo characters.
I mean, there's definitely things they can do to make it more compelling. You know, and I'm sure that they know all this stuff. But yeah, I mean,
there's so many things. Mario Kart Deluxe, while it's awesome, there's so many missing features from previous Mario Kart games. There's so many things they can do. The single player in that game is really bare bones. You know, there's really nothing. So I mean, they could turn that into an incredible single player or co-op experience, like with the campaign. Imagine that with Mario Kart. Racing. You know, yeah, like a Diddy, but make it like a 20-30 hour thing. Like make it like a real in-depth stuff. I mean, there's a bunch of things. I don't know if you guys have played Tour, but there's a bunch of cool stuff on Tour, you know, that they can do in terms of gameplay and progressions. Just Tour had a bunch of other issues when it comes down to it, but Tour has a lot of great ideas, like all the different outfits and the seasons. That stuff is cool, right? So it's like if they brought that over, but left out all the stupid stuff and then brought back some of the stuff from previous, you know, from like Diddy Kong or from like mission mode, right? Like mission mode is there's no mission mode in Mario Kart 8 Deluxe, right? So it's like stuff like that could be really big and you know, and good for the next Mario Kart game to help.
You do like a Mario Kart battle royale, just have like 100 people racing around a track.
They can revamp the battle. They can revamp the battle mode. Like the battle mode's in there, and like I've never liked battle mode that much. I mean, I liked it a little bit when I was younger, but like the battle mode, I played it a bit. I'm like, yeah, I'm good. So that needs a full revamp. The battle mode is just boring. It still plays like on the Super Nintendo, you know, and it has less features than I think like the GameCube. Like the GameCube one had like more modes, or it had like different types, like better variety of modes. So it's like Mario Kart 8 Deluxe. It's great and it's awesome and it's been supported for a decade or whatever. But like, man, there's so much stuff they can do. Like they haven't even scratched the surface in my opinion. So to me, there should be plenty of ideas to make the next Mario Kart game incredible. They've had so much time. I don't think there's any excuses with that game particularly, you know, like to be bare bones or to not have like way more than what Mario Kart 8 Deluxe had in terms of like feature set, right? And like content, in terms of just like modes and things like that. Obviously like characters, maybe it doesn't have all the characters they have or all the stages because of the DLC, but man, I can go on for a million years about how Mario Kart can be better. Maybe it's for a video.
Yeah, I think Mario Kart is the one. I feel like that's the one you launch with, like outright. Here's the new Mario Kart. It's going to sell stupid amounts. And then you launch a 3D Mario the next year or something. Or, yeah, I guess technically like early into the next year or something like that. So Mario Kart's the one. But I mean, hey, the thing is right now, people keep doubling down on the idea of March. So if that is the case, we are a month and a half at the most away from seeing whatever this thing is. So it's going to be an interesting year. So when we do finally see that, because I'm ready to get some tangible information around this thing already. Let me take a look at some of the super chats. This is one I saw in here that I definitely wanted to bring up because it once again has to do with Xbox, but it's actually a pretty funny question. This was from Herbie, who says, using Steam Deck's UI, if Valve made a console, would Twitter lose their mind? Sony, Xbox first party being on there, the marketing would be hilarious. You know, Valve is kind of positioned to do it if they wanted to at this point. They have the relationship with AMD. They have a handheld. They could. I mean, they don't even really have to make a lot of games right now. They of course maintain their games on Steam, but they could make a box that's decent enough in terms of power, put it out there and say, here's a box that'll play your Steam games under your TV without having you build a little custom PC. I wouldn't mind seeing that. I think that'd be interesting.
And the Steam Deck was their, I guess, second attempt at it. Their first one was outsourcing, which that was a shit show. But Steam Deck definitely kicked the door in.
Do that.
Yeah, Steam Deck's done way better than when they tried to outsource it to anyone and everyone. So I wouldn't mind seeing that
outsourcing crap never worked. Like we've had companies do that before, like what 3DO or Philips. That stuff never works. I don't know why they decided that, but Steam Deck's way better. So yeah, I agree.
Well, the outsourcing was more to like cut the overhead and to see what comes out of it, because there might have been some things that happened where they were like, oh, we could use this in a future thing we do in house, and I guess that was probably an easy way to do like cheap research.
Understandable. Yeah.
Put out there for Valve, I think that is something that people would be somewhat interested in, because when you build a PC to put under your TV, it never quite feels like it should be under your TV. No matter how much you try to dress it up and set it up with the OS when you first turn it on, it's just not. It's pretty obvious it's not for the TV, but that would be. I would just be curious to see it happen. This is from Schultz, who says, I remember thinking blurry games and 30 FPS on console would be a thing of the past. How naive I was. Well, you keep putting out stronger and stronger systems, and developers want to use more and more of the power. So, kind of how it goes, unfortunately. Kaladin says, did Max leave the Spawncast? No, definitely not. He's been taking a break, doing other things in life right now. So he keeps mentioning like moving around. He's got stuff going on, but he'll be back at some point. You'll see him around. The Casual Noob Gamer says, Switch 2 reveal commercial at Super Bowl, I think. I don't know about that one, but that would bust up the internet pretty good. I'll say that. That would be interesting, but I don't know. I wonder if we'll see any. Who do you think is most likely?
A Capcom
Sony, Microsoft,
game.
Nintendo to run a commercial tomorrow.
Those prices are insane.
Oh, what is it this year? I didn't even see what the price.
I could see Microsoft do a Game Pass commercial.
Millions.
I'm serious. I could see them
Microsoft gaming
one.
commercial. Oh, Game Pass.
I could see them do that.
Let me see what the cost is this year. It's okay. Ads cost about $16.8 million.
Yeah. It's insane.
That is something.
Tickets.
30-second commercial. Yeah, wow. I feel like if any out of the three, it'd probably be Sony who would do it.
Think so?
No, I do think Game Pass would be the more appropriate, since you're not limited to just a console.
Yeah. Well, I mean, either way, Microsoft could just put things like Call of Duty out there. Although we don't know what that is with Game Pass yet. But yeah, I mean, I guess it could be Microsoft. I was kind of thinking Sony might just try to throw Spider-Man and stuff up next to their PlayStation 5 in front of you, or anything that. Final Fantasy, I don't know. Or just one of their Greatness Awaits commercials. This is from Alan, who says, thanks for all the work you do. I look forward to your podcast every week. Dark Dream says, after Don Matrick in 2013, I'm still surprised the Xbox brand is still alive. To be honest, he went full stupid, I thought, and he just screwed up Xbox. Okay. I'll ask you guys this. Was that 2013 reveal like the most damaging thing we've ever seen in video game history?
Yep. It was the beginning of the end of Xbox for me.
It was pretty damn damaging. I mean, but they still sold 50 million consoles for how damaging it was.
I went back and watched it again, and then we looked at the launch lineup for the Xbox One, and the launch lineup was actually decent. Like, it was pretty good.
Dude, the launch lineup for the VCR is very good. Very good. Like, people seem to forget, but like the problem is it was the beginning of a really, really bad era Xbox.
I think it wasn't necessarily that. It was Microsoft's output. Halo didn't live up to what people felt Halo should be, right?
Halo 5, yeah.
Fable was canceled. They had that was supposed to be big. I played a Fable game at E3, and it never came out. So no Fable. They didn't have the exclusives to really drive what they wanted to do. If the exclusives were better, I think they could have overcame that, more. I mean, they had Gears, and Gears was good, but Gears didn't have the same impact that it had on the 360, So I think it was more of the exclusives, more of that than anything.
The system launched well. I remember playing a lot of the launch games that came out, like Forza was a launch game. I think Dead Rising 3 may have been one.
Yep.
Crimson Dragon was another. Killer Instinct was another one that got like
Rise.
Really, yeah, Rise was a good one as well. But then I remember just kind of waiting around for new games to come, and
yeah,
I don't know, like I think the next game I played was like Sunset Overdrive, which came like a couple of years later, maybe. And I played a couple of games, but at that point I was playing most of them on PlayStation because if you recall, like 900p was kind of the PS4 resolution, and 720p was like what most third-party games were outputting on the one, and performance was not great on either system, to be honest. But I just kind of just started gravitating towards PlayStation 4 at that point. I think a lot of people did as well. They kind of lost confidence with the Xbox brand and just kind of moved away. The Kinect stuff obviously didn't help either. The Don Matrix stuff was terrible. So yeah, it just wasn't a good time, for Xbox overall.
Track it back, MVG. The Kinect really messed them up.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
So it must have been Nintendo's fault the whole time with the Wii. Got to go all the way back to that Kinect. The Kinect actually sold well for them. The original one, I think it sold like 7.5 or 8 million units or something. And they looked at that and probably were like, "Oh, this works. Let's make it mandatory for our next system."
The 360 Kinect?
Yeah, that's sold. I looked it up.
That's sold like 20 million, right?
Oh, was it more than that? I remember
I think it was
7.5 million or something.
Kinect Adventures sold like 20 million with it. I think it sold like 20 million.
Man, that messed them up. That messed them up. Yeah.
But that was on 360 though. Those.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. The 360 Kinect. The 360 Kinect sold like 20 million, right?
Yeah, that messed them up to where they must have had a lot of confidence in it. And they're like, this is it. We need this to be paired. It needs to be integrated with the next system. And I feel like that, I know the DRM stuff gets a lot of, people point that out a lot. But once they told you, we're going to put this camera in your house and it's always on and always connect to the internet, I think that freaked some people out.
Well, that freaked some people out. But then they started to reveal, I guess, there was all that copyright and stuff or trademark stuff about it looks in your room to see what you have to try to advertise it to you. So it'll see the sodas you have. If you buy DLC, if you buy DLC for Gears of War and then somebody you're playing with comes in to play with you and they don't have the DLC, it won't let you play until they buy the DLC. There was so much weird stuff where you're like, no, this is bad.
Yeah. One feature I really liked on the Kinect, that snap feature where you could snap something on the right hand side.
About that a couple weeks ago. I missed that. That was a cool feature.
That was a cool feature.
They should bring it back.
No,
and then let us plug our
TV
into it too.
But like that, I mean, that was the thing. Like they just kind of lost focus. Like they wanted to become more of an entertainment. The Xbox One to be more of an entertainment center that did everything. And it didn't do anything particularly well. Even like the TV side of it, the VCR or the DVR aspect of it, the Kinect aspect of it, and it didn't really do anything very well. It was just kind of sluggish and not fleshed out.
So I looked it up just to double check. OJ, you're right. The Kinect sold 24 million units as of February 2013. It sold 8 million units in its first 60 days on the market.
Yeah.
It actually holds the record for being the fastest selling consumer electronics device in the Guinness Book of World Records.
Yeah, I know it did really well because that Kinect Adventures, because everyone was playing that, broke into the mainstream. Families were playing that, and I remember it selling incredibly well. I remember Microsoft, I think maybe even announcing it. I don't know if it was like at an E3, but I just remember covering it on my website at the time, and I was just like, dang, Kinect, people really like Kinect, But it was optional. So that's why I was like, I didn't understand the whole mandatory thing. It was optional last time. Why make it mandatory and jump the price of the system? So
yeah, the original, we saw that those slides that got out there, MEG, where it was for the Xbox 720, and their original plan was to launch the thing at $300. Man, I can't believe that. They should have really messed that up.
They should have trusted the process.
They should have trusted the process, because that was what it was for the 360. Have affordable pricing, have two different models, have optional stuff that people can pick up later, if you want this hard drive, or if you want, you can use your SD memory. It was very versatile, and they locked everything down for the Xbox One, and I still don't understand why,
Counterpoint, Don Matrick says, I'm sorry for what I did in 2013. Do you think I should return and take my old job back? You know what? Why not? Come on back, Don Matrick. They need you. They need your help. That is so wild that they come off the 360 and absolutely obliterate that entire section in the span of an hour for a presentation. This one is from the Casual Noob Gamer. Says, if you bought a Vision Pro, would you open it up? I saw iFixit did it. It looks like something that would have a really difficult time going back together. And if you got it back together, it'd always be like, you can kind of feel that this got taken apart. So I don't know. That's tough. That's up in the air at $3,500. I don't know.
Could get that Apple sponsorship.
Right? I did Apple Arcade. Come on, send it over.
There you go.
Johnny says, "Great job, everyone. What up, OJ? Excited my ex let me use their PS4 because they have a PS5. No more locked into Nintendo Switch only. Happy days." There's a whole library of games out there to explore, Johnny. Check them out. Callan Shaw.
Have fun.
Hey, you said Final Fantasy 7 Remake still looks good.
No, it does. Yeah, it just
does.
No, it
great. It does look good.
Looks great. Looks
Callan
great, man. Have fun for real.
John, I told you to play Assassin's Creed VR last year. It's good, but had to drop it for Asgard's Wrath 2, which I play daily since December until I rolled credits last weekend. Great game. VR is not a fad. It's marketed bad by non-gamers like Zuckerberg.
No, that's... Listen, I've played Half-Life Alyx on Quest 2, the whole game. I thought it was phenomenal. Loved every minute of it. The problem with VR, talked about this before, Sean touched on it, it's not something that will ever take over gaming. It just sits on the side to kind of complement. But the real problem is it's very hard to sell VR to people that don't know what VR is. You can talk about an amazing experience, an amazing game like Asgard's Wrath 2, but to me, I'm just like, okay, that sounds cool, I guess, but I'm going to just go about my business and play regular games. Like, trying to sell VR, it's such a personal kind of emotional experience to everyone that experiences VR. And I don't really know how you advertise and market that to people that don't really know what VR is.
The way that it gets mainstream is if, once again, it doesn't look so damn stupid and dorky with the big old huge heavy headset and all that type of stuff. If they get it like the Apple Pro, but you get it like glasses, I think that would be a cool way for people to interact. You put apps in there, you do other things. But the way that it's constructed right now, there's no way in hell like my wife or kids are going to be able to play this for a long time. I mean, it's going to jack their eyes up, so it's like you can't. People are sitting there saying, "Oh, it's not a fad." Yeah, it is. Until they actually make it better, nobody's gonna want to wear that. People didn't even want to wear glasses for a 3D TV, So if they're not gonna want to wear glasses for, for a 3D TV, why are they gonna want to wear some big ass headset? Just because y'all like dorky stuff like that doesn't mean everybody else is gonna do that. So that's what people got to realize. Like, nobody wants to wear that crap on a wide scale, Like, look at the PSVR 2. It's getting its ass whooped. Like, it's getting
I don't know what happened
right
to that thing.
That's supposed to be the best VR headset, or one of the best VR headsets, right? PS5's popular. People aren't buying that. I have a PS5.
I have a PSVR 1, and I didn't buy a PSVR 2. I think a lot of people are in the same camp as me.
Yeah, I do wonder if they were able to make everything backwards compatible from 1 to 2, if that would have made it a little more interesting for people to go to. But the fact that I see people who had the PSVR 1 who are like, "Nah, I'm good." It's like, oof, wow, okay. There's
that would have been better though. Like the backwards compatibility thing is baffling,
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
Just open it up as well. Like, open it up to PC. Like,
yes, needs to go to PC.
I get it. Closing out your console and your operating system, that's fine. But if you're going to sell a VR headset, make it accessible on PC.
I might be a bit more interested because I do have like a Meta Quest, So if it was opened up to PC, especially now that I'm actually getting more into it, I'd be like, okay, I might think about it more, But just locking it down to PS5 with potential to, nah, that's not, because PC, you can get a bunch of different stuff, it's open, so it'd be more enticing, but not locking it down just to PS5, nah.
Or we just get to the point where these low power chips become so advanced that it's just all in one and it plays Half-Life Alyx without needing anything else. Like, just the headset plays it.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
Dark Type says, fully expecting Xbox to be out of the console space by 2030 or my money back guaranteed.
No.
I don't think so.
That's not going to happen. You don't make these investments, just to be gone in 6 years. They're going to be around for a while. I don't know what they're going to look like in 2030, but they'll still be around.
Yeah, they could do something crazy, like a tiny little box that's $100 that just plays all their Game Pass stuff. That's it.
Just built into TV, just built straight up Xbox chip built into your TV, just does everything right from there.
It's also from Dark Type, says, also with Nintendo seemingly announcing their next console soon, do you think they would get into VR for real and not be made out of cardboard? I don't know. We just mentioned it. It's a lot of apprehension right now in the space around VR. So
Yeah.
I don't know.
I doubt it.
It was like
I
more of an
doubt they will.
experiment if they wouldn't do something. Yeah.
I doubt it, just because VR is expensive and it's not a huge market. There's no point in investing in VR right now until you know that it's going to be a thing, you know?
Okay, fun topic as we're finishing up here. This was a survey that was released by Capcom, and it caught people's attention because they listed a lot of different titles here, franchises, some that we haven't seen in a while, and they specifically asked people to choose a game or an IP they would like to see a modern follow-up, a spin-off, something like that from. And I've listed all of them here, and there were quite a few. Some I'm not even aware of. So I don't know if there's like the one at the bottom. I don't even know how to pronounce it. But I saw things like Okami was on there, Darkstalker, Onimusha. They put Street Fighter on there. I feel like that's more the spin-off territory because we just got Street Fighter. But I don't know. Maybe they wanted a Street Fighter RPG or something. Dino Crisis on there, Dead Rising, Devil May Cry, and the list goes on here. Which game are you greenlighting?
Power
Spin-off,
Stone.
remake, brand new game.
Power Stone.
What'd you say?
Power Stone.
Okay, yes, Power Stone's very good, but man, Dino Crisis, complete Dino Crisis 2 remake, or Dino Crisis 1 and 2 HD for the first one, then complete remake like RE2 for the second game. That would be incredible. Power Stone, yes, I would love that. But man, Dino Crisis, dude, that would be Dino Crisis is legit like goated, man. Dino Crisis 2 to be in that game is so good. So I would love that, man.
I'm gonna go with the new Okami game.
Ooh.
I was looking
Okami's-
through their platinum list. It's number 48 at 2.3 million for the HD version. So there is still at least some. That's the HD version. There's at least still some interest. People remember it, and I think that would be a cool game to use the RE engine for.
Yeah.
And I bring that up because RE engine's been used in some more interesting ways now. We had it with Ghosts and Goblins Resurrection, which is like this 2D looking game, right? But they were able to use the RE engine for that. And they also used it in Ghost Trick, which is very strange. I did not expect that. So I feel like that'd be a cool game to show off their engine in a unique way with kind of that watercolor look. And I think there would still be an audience that would show up to at least buy, I'm going to say a couple million copies. I don't know how well it would do, but I think it would do well enough for them to get their money back and maybe revive this franchise that is just always on. It's always like $10 on Switch, PlayStation, Xbox, whatever. It's always cheap, but people still buy it. So that's kind of my thing. I understand Dino Crisis, which 2.4 million copies, so it's right there with it. We see the RE remake stuff. It would work so well, but I'm going with Okami. I think that'd be cool. They did put versus Capcom on there. I don't know what they would put up against it. It's always Marvel. I don't know. But it was an interesting survey that went out there, so people should check it out. You can go through it and you can vote for the game you want. I don't know if it'll ever turn into anything, but they're at least collecting information. So there you have it. Sean is gone.
His
his internet went out.
Oh, his internet went out. I was going to ask
Yeah.
if he was going to do the after show. I guess he's not.
His ISP chose for him.
Okay, there you go. That's it. Let me see. I got everything here. Okay, cool. Still plenty of time, MVG. You can play Helldivers 2.
Yeah, I'm not going to play, John. But thank you. Appreciate the heads up. I may get it if it's, when it goes on sale later.
I'm
There
down
you
for
go.
Helldivers 2.
OJ will play. See? Oh.
Yeah. all right.
I'm down. No, I've been playing it this whole time. It's great.
Let me go
Lot of
around
fun.
here as we finish up. I'm gonna start with Evan this time though. Evan, where can everyone find you?
Oh, on YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, pretty much anywhere. Kimrick's Project. If you're into tabletop games, stuff like that. Learned a new one yesterday. Yeah, and probably put a video out for it soonish. Get a battle report up. But yeah, we just release videos, do streams, paint models, talk strategy, have some fun.
Good stuff. Good stuff. Yeah, check Evan out over on his channel. A lot of tabletop stuff over there. It's good stuff. And let me go over to OJ.
Yeah, you can find me right here on YouTube, Player Essence. I cover a lot of RPG and Nintendo stuff. I got some cool stuff, top secret stuff that's going down probably next week. So look out to for the channel for that. I pretty much stream daily. So if you're into live streams, having fun, talk about random stuff, talk about video games, RPGs, all that stuff, I do that on the channel as well, Player Essence. Thank you guys for everybody that came over. We run the pre-show as well, Spawncast pre-show. We had like 500 people or near that, somewhere 400 something, 500 people in there. So yeah, if you want to hang out before the Spawncast as well, I run that too. So thank you for having me on, John. I appreciate it. Thank you guys for putting up with me for the 2 hours.
MVG, what about you? You're playing retro emulators on your N64 over there today.
Yep, got a video today about playing emulators on the greatest console ever, the Nintendo 64. Check that out. And I got more content coming up. I had a bit of a break over the last couple of weeks, but I got some cool content coming up over the next few weeks. You can find me on Twitter at Modern Vintage G and YouTube Modern Vintage Gamer. Thanks for having me on.
What made you put a video out today? Instead of,
well, this one's
Monday, right?
Yeah, this one's been in the works for a while. I just wanted to get it out because I hadn't like uploaded for like 12 days, so I thought I'm not going to wait till Monday. I'm just going to drop it today. So
early release, very good.
Yep, but I got video coming out next week and kind of just continue on from there.
Okay, awesome stuff. All right, thanks everyone for joining us tonight. Shinru said, "Anyone here play Foamstars? Thoughts on it?" Well, we played it, we uninstalled it. We talked about it at the top of the show, Shinru. If you want to go back to the beginning, we buried it for about 5 minutes. So thanks for tuning in. Shadow Mask says Mega Man Legends wasn't on the list. That's because they're making the collection. Mega Man Legends 1, 2, and then Misadventures of Tronbon. And they're going to tack on the Mega Man 3 Legends 3 demo, and they're just going to rename it something else. So that'll be the collection. It'll come out next year. Okay, cool. Thanks everyone for joining us. We'll be back next Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. Sounds like there's going to be a lot to go over. Should be a lot of fun. We'll see you guys then.